Hello and welcome back to Premier League Preview, and it is finally back for the 2021 season. Now, without further ado, let's get into the first fixture, being Brighton versus Manchester United, obviously my club. Brighton have looked pretty good so far this season, while Manchester United have looked the complete opposite. We were awful against Crystal Palace, and I think Brighton will look to push on, while obviously Manchester United need to bounce back. I'm going to keep this one pretty short because I will be uploading a separate video for the preview for the match where I'll discuss the game more. So check that video out. Link in the description. But I am going for a Manchester United win, and that win will be by 3 goals. Crystal Palace versus Everton. Both teams have actually started really well this season. Palace are doing something that I didn't expect them to, and that is win a lot of games very quickly. And both teams are 100% so far. I think Palace will drop off though. I still think they will be in a relegation scrap. And I don't think Everton will be. I think Everton will be the complete and utter opposite, in fact. And I think what Ancelotti's doing there is absolutely fantastic. What he's done, being able to bring in the likes of James Rodriguez and Allen to Everton is incredible. And they could be up there this season. If I'm being completely honest, they really could be. Ancelotti is probably at least top 5 managers in the league. So, I'm going for a 2-0 Everton win. West Bromwich Albion versus Chelsea. Now, this game is, I think it's got one team written all over it. West Brom will probably be the whipping boys this season. Like Huddersfield have been, like Norwich was last year. And it'll be like the guaranteed 3 points you're going to get. And I think that's not going to be any different here. Chelsea are a good team. They've got some fantastic players. I have my doubts over Frank Lampard still. And I don't think I think Kepa's an awful goalkeeper who looks to be set to start against West Brom despite his 2 absolute howlers against Liverpool. But I don't think that's going to cost Chelsea too much. I'm going to go for a 3-0 Chelsea win. And I'm going to have Timo Werner and Kai Havertz both getting on the score sheet and scoring their first goals in the Premier League. Next, we have Burnley versus Southampton. Neither team have started the season too well. Burnley obviously lost to Leicester in their first game. And Southampton lost both their opening fixtures to Crystal Palace and to Spurs. And both games they played pretty terribly. But I think both teams will be looking to bounce back. I think Southampton are really missing that Højbjerg type player that obviously they lost when they did sell Højbjerg. And I think both teams will have something to prove. Burnley are obviously missing so many players. Missing both their centre-backs, Ben Mee and James Tarkowski. Ashley Barnes is also injured. So that's a big proportion of their team. Jay Rodriguez I don't think is completely fit. So it's going to be a difficult game for Burnley. And I think the score will end 1-1. Sheffield United versus Leeds United. I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. I think both are good teams, managed by even better managers. I really do rate both Chris Wilder and especially Marcelo Bielsa. I think it's going to be a close game. And both teams will be working for the win. But I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. Tottenham Hotspur versus Newcastle United. I think Spurs, since Jose Mourinho has taken over, are very hit and miss. And I think that has continued into this season. And I think it's obvious to see that. And if you want any more proof of that hit and miss form that Tottenham have shown, the start of the season is perfect for that. Awful against Everton. I can't stress how badly they were against Everton. And obviously they lost. But then they went and smashed Southampton last week. 5-2. Yes, 5-2. With Heung-min Son scoring 4 goals. Harry Kane getting the other one. And Harry Kane also getting the 4 assists. So Harry Kane has started his season with a bang. And I hope this is the return of the Harry Kane of 2 years ago when he was bagging 30 plus goals in the Premier League alone. Because that Harry Kane is only good for the league, and it's only good for England, especially with the Euros coming up. But like I say, Newcastle aren't great. I don't think Newcastle are good still. Steve Bruce isn't a good manager. He's so outdated for me. And I think this is going to be a pretty easy game for Tottenham. I'm going 3-0 Spurs. Manchester City versus Leicester City. Both teams played well last time out. Man City beating Wolves 3-1, which is a fantastic result. Everyone knows how good Wolves are and how difficult they are to beat, and especially score 3 goals past, knowing how good defensively they are. Although I think they've had a weird transfer window. I don't think Wolves has particularly done very well. They sold some big players for them like Diego Jota, Matt Doherty, although they have now replaced Doherty with Nelson Semedo, who could be outstanding. I haven't watched him much at Barcelona, but what I have seen, he's pretty good. He's very good attacking. He's questionable defending though, and if he has a bad game, it can be a shocker, like he's shown against Alphonso Davies and Bayern Munich in the Champions League. However, playing a 5-back would probably suit him a lot more. Leicester, they beat Burnley, and I think they looked pretty good there. I don't think Burnley was at their best. Like I said, Burnley got a lot of injury problems, which made it easier for Leicester, although they're not playing terribly at the moment, and I feel like it will be a close game, but Man City will just score the goals well. I think Leicester might struggle with that, so I'm going to go 2-1 Man City. West Ham versus Wolves. Now, West Ham are still awful, so I'm going to keep this short. West Ham are awful still. To be honest, I'm not having David Moyes as a manager because he's unfortunately contracted COVID-19. So I wish him all the best in his recovery. As much as I like to joke about how bad of a manager David Moyes is, obviously I hope he recovers and gets back to full fit health as soon as possible. I feel like he might be a blessing in disguise for West Ham. As like I just said, I don't think Moyes is a good manager. I don't think he's good enough to be managing West Ham and the players they've got. So I feel like I think it's Dennis Irvine in charge. Who knows what could happen? I think they've played well in the cups especially last game when Irvine was in charge. And who knows? But I think Wolves are the better team. Like I said, they've got Nelson Semedo, very good attacking. Adama Traore can then go back into his best position as the right winger instead of a right wing back, which will obviously I think will help them attackingly. So I'm going to go for a 3-0 Wolves win. Fulham versus Aston Villa. Now, this game will be a close one. I think both teams will be down there in the relegation zone. However, like I said earlier, I feel like Fulham will be one of the whipping boys of the Premier League this season. They try and play their way, their passing, control, possession style like they did in the Championship. But you can see they're not got the quality to do that in the Premier League. They're not good enough. We saw it with Norwich last season where they tried to play their way and couldn't. I feel like the same is going to be with Fulham, same like it will be for West Brom. And I think they're going to struggle in this game. I feel like Villa have signed pretty well, like I've said in my Premier League preview prediction for my league prediction. And I think this is going to be a game that Aston Villa will probably be the better side in. However, I do see them drawing 1-1. Finally, we have Liverpool versus Arsenal. I think both teams have had pretty good starts to the season. Obviously, both teams unbeaten. I feel like Liverpool being the slightly more fortunate of the two. Obviously, with that really, really dodgy opening game to Leeds where they won the game thanks to 2 penalties and some horrific individual mistakes from Leeds. But I feel like their attack is very, very good and will break through Arsenal's defence despite how solid it has looked under Mikel Arteta recently. At the same time, I don't think Liverpool's defence have looked that great. I think Van Dijk, I mean, I would still say he's the best centre-back in the world, obviously. But of recent performances, you wouldn't think he's up there, would you? I think he was awful against Leeds. Obviously, cost him a goal. Against Chelsea, he wasn't really challenged. And he was alright. He was what I would expect a player like him to be. I don't think he was anything special in that game. But you don't have to be that every game. So what I'm basically saying is both teams will score. But how many will each team score? I'm going 2-2. So that leaves one last thing. Who is this week's player to watch? And for me, it is going to be... I think it's going to be Donny van der Beek. Now, do I think he's going to get 2 goals, 3 assists or something crazy like that? No, I don't. But I feel like what he will do, I think he'll link up with Bruno Fernandes and Nemanja Matic, who I imagine Pogba's going to be benched because I don't think he's fit enough yet. And I feel like he might get a goal, he might get an assist, but he'll be so important in that linking of the defensive midfielder in Matic and Bruno Fernandes on the attack. And I feel like he's just going to have a fantastic game. So I think he'll be my player to watch. But if we're going for a more fantasy football player to watch who's going to get a lot of points, I'm thinking a Bruno Fernandes or an Anthony Martial or maybe a Kai Havertz or Timo Werner. But that will be it from me today. If you have enjoyed, make sure you hit that like button below, subscribe down below, and make sure you check out the Manchester United match preview for the Manchester United versus Brighton game and the watch along that I will be doing for that match. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Peace.